Welcome to Tune Up Tips for Gardening and Other Activities. I'm Denise Cambiotti from Vancouver, Canada, and I've been studying and applying bioenergetic modalities since 1995. Now, most people have never been invited to think about the body acting like a battery or having voltage, even though we often speak in terms of low energy when we're tired or charged up when we're feeling great. Isn't that right? The concept of bioenergy relating to the human body is fascinating because it does draw parallels between the body's energetic state and electricity or battery like functions. And that suggests that our bodies have measurable energy called voltage. And that's because it does. It's just at a low level compared to the voltage that runs your computer or your coffee pot. The term bioenergy relates to research that finds the body is not just a physical entity, but also an energetic one. And this perspective is known throughout all holistic medicine practices that focus on balancing the body's energy to maintain health and well-being. Some of these practices include energy healing modalities that aim to detect and correct energy imbalances. And thinking of the body this way, it encourages individuals to become more attuned to their own energy levels and learn to recognize when you feel off or depleted. And seeking restoration can involve going to see your healthcare professional, a natural health practitioners, or just getting out in nature. Something strange that I want to start with. I know it might be strange for you to think about this, but did you know in ancient past, few people understood about magnetism? That seemed magical. Well, what I do seems magical, but it is all scientific. Back then, a few people knew that lodestones, which are naturally magnetized minerals, emit magnetic energy. And these people were secretly using them to demonstrate tricks that people believed to be magic. The Greeks and Chinese studied these properties, and it led to the initial understanding of magnetic forces. And then that eventually intersected with electricity when Hans Christian Ørsted discovered that electric currents create magnetic fields back in 1820. Now, these concepts are taught in elementary school, and it's not magic, but it can appear magic when you pass a magnet under a sheet of paper that has iron filings on it, and you can get the iron filings to dance around. So you've probably seen that in your schooling. And what I want to say is there's been a missing piece bridging us from those concepts in a practical way to how these forces affect our physical body. Now, you might be aware that your body has an electrical signal to say from your brain to your muscle, contract and relax, right? That is just one form of bioenergy, and there's others. And one of them that I'm going to talk about today is about how acupuncturists have known how to direct the flow of this subtle energy for thousands of years through channels called meridians and the energy being called chi. Now, it's only relatively recently that this has been proven by science and that this current is super low level. And there are about 20 channels. And the reason they know this is from experiments like with Dr. Bo Hang, who in Korea many years ago, I think it was in the 1960s, no, before then. Oh, I'm trying to remember. It would have been after that. He studied, pardon my confusion, I've just got a few too many facts falling out of my head right now. But he was injecting radioactive dye into a meridian point, and these are the width of a hair, so it was really difficult to accomplish. But when he got that radioactive dye and put people into fluoroscopes, they could see how this flow of energy was flowing through these meridian pathways that the Chinese had mapped out thousands of years ago. And his experiment was replicated by Pierre de Vernejoul of France. So hooray, because it was replicated, it's truly scientific. And I'm really happy about that. And think again about these meridians being electrical in nature and supplying voltage, even though it's very low voltage. because of that, let's bridge that to an analogy of those old-fashioned holiday lights. When any one of the bulbs back then, when it was a single strand Christmas light, if one of those bulbs went offline, all the bulbs would go dark. And in this analogy, a string is a meridian and the muscles are like the light bulbs. And I want you to understand that when one muscle isn't functioning really well, it is affecting other muscles. And by finding it and fixing it, you're switching on energy to that whole meridian system, the whole circuit. Restoring that energy allows everything to shine, unless muscles have individual energy issues of their own. So, thinking back to some of my holiday memories, I know it would have saved my family tons of frustration if we could have identified which bulb is the troublemaker. And we can do that with muscle testing, the kind that I do. Um, just the short story of it, muscle testing started with physiotherapists in the 1930s, and they were using hard, heavy pressure. I use lighter pressure because I'm not testing the strength of muscles. I am testing how are those muscles communicating with the nervous system and how are they doing communicating with the meridian system of the body. And I want to let you know that when you work on an issue, where there's pain and you're not working at the right level, typically pain relievers aren't going to permanently fix the situation. And I want you to get a sense that I really have a passion of supporting individuals and increasing physical vitality and overall wellness by learning where their own circuit breakers are located and how to activate them to increase strength and reduce pain. And it's not difficult, and I'm going to show you how to do this for yourself soon. So before I go on and talk too much more about these concepts, I would love to share an image to get an idea of, oh, where did my share button go? Don't you love it when that happens? So the Chinese acupuncture system, here's a typical picture of the acupuncture chart, which shows all these pathways that run in sort of straight lines, although some of the lines do zig and zag. I notice many of them are quite straight, and that they all relate and they all have these little points on them that are addresses that identify where they are in the acupuncture system. And I'll just show you this image here. For example, on the left side, or whichever side of the screen you're looking at right now, the light blue ones are numbered according to the Western. Over here we have a spleen point, here we have a stomach point, and here we have a kidney point. And on the black lettered side, where the black labels are with the Chinese characters, those are named really groovy names like Sea of Tranquility. And so they have some descriptive names that when you needle that point, it activates a flow of energy for a particular reason. Now, the thing is we don't need to have acupuncture needles to affect trying to just find something on my screen. Excuse me for a moment. You don't need acupuncture needles to affect the acupuncture meridian system. You can use acupressure. Now, another thing about the Chinese system, and for some reason, I'm trying to find an image to share with you, and it has gone blank. Give me a moment. Okay, we're ready to go now. Here is an example of the small intestine meridian. And what's going on here is even though it's named after the small intestine meridian, it's nowhere near the small intestine, which is inside the torso, in the abdomen. This point happens to start on the outside of the baby fingernail, and it goes along the back of the arm. It has a few fun zigzags and ends near the ear. So just again to show you, there are acupuncture points on the pathway. And what I want to show next is the heart meridian, and it ends on the opposite side of the baby fingernail, and it has points. And the reason I'm showing you this is notice there is an arrow here, and the red line represents the heart meridian, And these are points on the heart meridian. And I just want you to think about that when I want to tell you about a client I had once. And she hadn't been well for quite a while. And she said, it's been since I was put on some antibiotics. And she was experiencing heart palpitations. So I asked her, why were you given the antibiotics? And she revealed she had burnt her inner wrist by pulling a pan out of the oven. And she woke up several days later with a black line running up her arm from the area of the burn. And that indicates sepsis, blood poisoning. And she went to see the doctor, and he went, you need antibiotics. So she always assumed that it was the antibiotics that affected her, but the scar was across a very key acupressure point called the command point, relevant to the energy going directly to the heart. And I would like to think that maybe the scar and the injury was related to the heart palpitation more so than the antibiotics. So in her session, we identified that there was trapped energy there, and we were able to release it using a natural approach that only took a few minutes. So back to the images, because I just love a picture that shares 1,000 words, if I can find it. Have you ever heard of the elements of fire, earth, metal, water, and wood? So just a little tiny bit of this theory, because this is replicable by people all over the world, even when they're not trained acupuncturists, but they have been taught about the flow of energy. The point for this woman was on her fire element, on the element of the heart, and the point that was affected was the point that related to the heart itself. And all these command points, they're like telephone lines that talk to the other elements. For example, earth, you have the meridians of the spleen and the stomach. And on metal, you have the lung and the large intestine. On water, you have kidney, bladder. And on wood, you have the gallbladder and liver. So this is really interesting. You can go, okay, the water element has kidney and bladder. Those make sense. The wood element, and I can see how liver and gallbladder work together from a Western perspective. But this one called metal, did you know that lung energy, when disturbed, can affect the large intestine? And if the large intestine is in balance, it can affect lungs. So let's say you have chronic inflammation of the intestines, or you have asthma, you might start noticing that the organ you didn't even realize was connected might also be having trouble. So keep that in mind when we work with bioenergy of the body. So I'm really, really passionate to give you a little taster of this because it is important. Now, the next diagram I'm going to show you is called the wheel, and it's another model that shows how the flow of subtle energy moves from one meridian to the next, and it's very consistent in every body, even for animals. And this model shows how the energy passes from one meridian to the other over a 24-hour circle. It moves clockwise. It takes about 2 hours to move from one to the next. So let's get that shown up here for you. So here we go, this wheel model. Let's just start here at the stomach meridian. Let's back up a bit. Let's start with the large intestine meridian, that it gets its surge of energy between 5 and 7 in the morning. Have you ever noticed that as a normal, healthy individual, you normally get up, you start moving, and you need to have a bowel movement? Well, guess what? The large intestine is most active at that time of day. And then it's natural to have breakfast. And between the hours of 7 to 9 a.m. is when your stomach has the most hydrochloric acid, and that is extremely beneficial at breaking down proteins. And that just starts a whole biochemical cascade that's super, super important for your wellness. Then comes spleen time, and the spleen, it shares this electrical circuit also with the pancreas meridian, and the pancreas helps you with blood sugar handling. And so the energy baton flows every 2 hours to another meridian, all the way around to all these familiar sounding organs. And I want to bring your attention now to the pericardium. That is not actually an organs specifically. It is a sac that surrounds the heart and it protects the heart, sometimes called the heart protector. And it's most active between 7 to 9 p.m. at night. So stop for a second. If the energy of the stomach is most active at breaking down proteins at 7 to 9 in the morning, what happens if you have a big steak between 7 and 9 at night? Remember, maybe your mother taught you, don't eat a heavy meal at night, you won't sleep well. Well, that's a possibility, but you also won't be digesting properly. And that's just a small snippet of a practical approach of how bioenergy, understanding it a little bit, can support you at being healthier. Shall we go on? Please say yes. The thing about the bio clock also is that's if you haven't messed your system up too badly by working night shift or doing jet lag. And if you have, there are ways to reset yourself. And here's a tip for you. If you feel that your body clock is a little cockeyed, go and do something called earthing. Put your bare feet on the ground. Go play in the dirt in the garden with your bare hands. Go hug a tree and connect for a while. And the Mother Earth heartbeat, it will calibrate your own physical system. There are people that absolutely swear by this. So there's a tip for you. And the next thing I want to talk to you about is about, oh, here we go. Let's go for a summary. Acupuncture theory has been around for at least 3,500 to 5,000 years. So this is replicable. It's been analyzed. It's been appreciated. Even here in Vancouver, British Columbia, we have a hospital that has a whole pavilion dedicated to acupuncture. That's okay. It's been accepted by science by now. What else I want to remind you of is meridians are part of the subtle energy system of your body, and that muscles are connected to organs via the meridian system. That's a whole other talk I give about how applied kinesiologists, chiropractors, mapped out all the connections to make that work. And Western science acknowledges that these meridians exist because of experiments. Meridians are found on both sides of the body, as you saw in that diagram. They also are on the front and on the back. And by stimulating acupoints, you don't need needles. You can use your fingertips. And meridians can be either in an over-energized state or an under-energized state. So knowing how to balance this is a valuable skill. And it's really great at releasing pain. So anything we do to support muscles supports our organs and our individual vitality and allows you to thrive. And you're not born knowing how to do that. So that's why there's people like me around so that you can learn. So are you ready to learn some techniques that you can apply right now to make you feel better? Okay. First, take a measurement of your vitality level. If 0 is you can barely get out of bed, and 10 is you're like, woohoo, let's go, you can conquer the world, please take a number where your vitality is right now and make a note of any pain or discomfort you have in the body and where it is. Because this next tip I'm going to show you, at least 75% of the time, increases vitality and at least 50% of the time reduces pain and discomfort. And I've been running classes for many, many years and had everybody mark this down. And there's some classes where it's 100% improvement, but I'm just being reasonable by saying those other percentages because it's almost too good to believe. And I'm teaching you this key technique right now called power on your brain. Now, you don't need to stand up, but I will so you can see this better. You always have to have a hand on your navel. I'm not teaching you the why right now because I have to get this recording done in a short amount of time, but just do that. It's good for you. And then with the other hand, take 2 fingers and a thumb and find the spots below your collarbone and plug in there. You want to be on the muscle, not on the bone. And notice I'm giving that a very friendly wiggle and a jiggle. So take a deep breath. And we want to rub these for a minimum of 20 seconds. And I would like you to think about, this is on the right side of the body, left side of the body. These points are activating messages between the right and left side of your brain and the right and left sides of your body. And if you wish, you can switch hands and activate that. So 10 seconds on one, 10 seconds on the other. The next points are below your nose and below your lower lip. So these acupressure points, very important. We're going to activate them by rubbing them a little bit like so. Keep breathing. Notice these are stacked one on top of the other. These are helping messages go from the top of your brain to your brainstem, and they help you with coordination when you have to move up and down, like climbing stairs or ladders or getting up off the ground. Let's switch for a few seconds. And we're breathing. The next point is not on the tip of your tailbone. It is about where your tailbone attaches to the lower part of your sacrum, right there. So we're going to activate that with a little wiggle and a jiggle. And this is helping you in movements, moving forward and backwards. It helps messages move the front part of your brain where you work out solutions to problems with your back brain. That is all about dinosaur thinking. Let's switch hands for a few seconds and give that a little wiggle and a jiggle. And a breath. Good. Now, please reevaluate your vitality level and reevaluate any pain or discomfort you have in your body. And if this was shocking to you, I would love for you to reach out to me and send me an email and tell me what you noticed. And that's called the Power on Your Brain technique. The next one I want to show you is the Exercise Ninja. And this one is really good to apply before you go and do any unaccustomed activity, or when you want to feel stronger and you let's say you're going to the gym and you want your workout to count. This is generally going to switch on your upper body muscles and your lower body muscles. And let's say you forget to do this before you do an activity and you go, oops, and you do it afterwards. You're helping move lymphatic fluid through your body to clear away cellular debris, and it helps reduce pain. So if you've ever felt really sore the next day after an activity, you can even do this then. So just quickly going to show you what we're going to do. You're going to rub here in the shoulder crease. Oh, my chair is making weird looking things there. Okay. Let's rub in the shoulder crease. You want to do this for at least 30 seconds, especially if you have a shoulder rotator cuff type issue, or you want to improve concentration, focus. And we're going to rub that on the other side. And I'm speeding this up just a little bit for the recording, but ultimately, once you know where these points are, once a day, you're going to want to probably rub these for 30 seconds each. And you definitely want to rub them before you go and do anything with your upper body. The next points are along the lower ribs. Everybody's body is different. This is where my ribs are. I'm not rubbing on the ribs, just below the ribs. And we're giving that, oh, yeah, that's actually, this one's for the lower body. I'm a little bit out of order. This one's for the lower body. That's okay. This is quadriceps for when you're walking up a step, when you're getting down, getting up out of a chair, bending in the garden, squatting. That's all very important. Now, more for the upper body. Let's rub right here on the chest between the 5th and the 6th ribs. This is generally the location where the brassiere meets the torso. And so if you can get into the center and rub all along, and your ribs kind of curve a little bit. So get in there. Keep breathing. Good. And then the next ones for the lower body are really fabulous. Now, they help with the abdominals. Every action you take pretty much involves the abdominals in some way, shape, or form. It's not just when you need to do crunches. It's much more than that. Now, also lower leg muscles, if you have pain after you work out, this will help. There's a big reflex area all along the inside of the thigh and all along the outside of the thigh. It's quite wide, so use the palm of your hand and you can do two sides at once. And just give it a rubby-dubby like that. If it's very painful, don't let it be painful. Back off a little bit. These can be quite tender if you tend to have a bit of toxicity built up in your body. So just breathe. I'm going to rub that for 30 seconds. And again, for the video, I'm going to shorten it up just a bit, but make sure you're breathing. And this is what it looks like on the other side. Not quite in the right position. Here we go. Remember to breathe. And I've been told that if you have a tendency to constipation, you will want to end with several downward strokes. And if you tend to be a little loose, you can rub upwards to finish. All right. So that is the exercise ninja technique that I have seen. I've given this to people who are hobbling coming into meetings, the network meetings I've been at. And I go, do what I do, just do this, and it'll just take a minute or two. And within the hour and a half or so, they're getting up and walking normally. And they came in looking broken. And they were amazed. They had totally forgotten they had pain. And I went, what are you noticing? So I invite you that if you have some amazing stories to share, that you get back to me on that as well, okay? So let's just wrap this up because this is not meant to be a huge class, but it is about offering you some food for thought and giving you the ability to more thoroughly enjoy all your summertime activities. And if you would like to learn more, reach out to me through my website. You see it here in the graphic up here, top right. And I do have a little offer for you. I'll just show you a picture. If you go to the website and go to our events, you will find a graphic that looks like this. I have a program that is a 6-week event. It's live guided, giving you more bioenergetic wellness techniques that you can use, why and when you want to use them. It's 1 hour a week for 6 weeks, and it's called Tune Up Your Nervous System. It's really going to be great for helping you tune up your vitality, improve your strength, and reduce discomfort. It helps to calm you, helps to vitalize you. It's curious to be in a state of being calm and energized at the same time. If you have any questions, reach out to me. My email address doesn't quite match the website. We haven't migrated it yet, but it's denise@muscletuners.fit. And I totally invite you, if you have any questions, to reach out to me. I would love to see you at one of my events. There is a coupon code for the event if you are attending the summit that you will get from the organizers. And it will allow you to receive a lovely little discount and give you the impetus to come learn more. It'll be worth it. And is there anything else I want to say? Yes. Muscle tuning offers strength, comfort, and vitality. Please take care of yourselves and enjoy your summer. Bye for now.